Hi, I'm Hazel, and today I'm going to be going through the 7 steps to planning a BlizzCon trip. And now, full disclosure, I have never been, but I'm planning my first ever trip, and I feel like I have gone through every forum mega thread and BlizzCon guide and BlizzCon planning guide and ticket buying guide, and I've been doing a lot of research / neurotic obsessing, and I figured I would collect for you guys the most highly rated tips that I've found. So step 1 for planning your trip is going to be to do up a rough budget and then really decide if you want to go. Make sure that you know what you're getting into financially before you go into it. So of course there's tickets, those are $200 each, and then you've got to get there, which for some of us is going to mean a plane, so you got to fly there and you got to fly back. You're going to need somewhere to stay, so you're probably looking at a couple of nights of accommodations during one of the busier weekends in Anaheim. You're going to have to eat, and a lot of the more convenient food in the area is going to be marked up, so leave a good sized food budget to make sure that you have something to eat while you're there. And then there's extras, so maybe you're going to want to do some shopping at the convention, get some like exclusive BlizzCon, shirts or plushies or something. You might be wanting to make a cosplay just for the event if you're going to do a cosplay that you would not otherwise have done, factor that in. And there's always something, like I always end up spending what seems like a weird amount of money making sure that I have travel-sized versions of the things that I want to bring with me, and like none of them are that expensive, but like when you get a tiny bit of like everything, it kind of adds up. So do up your budget, and then once you have looked at the damage and you can look at it with no fear in your eyes and you know that it's going to be worth it, then you can commit, you can move on to step 2. Step 2 is going to be deciding how long you're staying for. So the convention itself is on the Friday and Saturday. If you're flying in, you're probably going to want to at least fly in on the Thursday and leave on the Sunday because it runs from 9 to 10. It's a long day. You don't want to be flying in on the same day. And then a lot of people will choose to either get in earlier or stay later or both to see and do other things in California. So for example, Disneyland is like right there. So if you've never been to Disneyland or you just want to go do Disneyland with a bunch of other Blizzard nerds, this is the weekend to do it. And you might want to stay an extra day for that. I myself kind of have my heart set on the California version of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I've seen a bunch of Twitter pictures of Overwatch League pros looking super dorky, with like the robe and the wand, and I want to be that dork. Your step 3 is going to be booking and arranging your flights. So there are 2 airports in this area. You have the John Wayne Airport, which is SNA, and then you have the Los Angeles International Airport, which is LAX. So the thing about LAX is that it is larger, it is busier, and it is about 3 times as far away from the convention center as SNA, but it is international. If you are flying in from Canada, Mexico, or the US and you can get a flight into SNA, I would strongly recommend that you do that. If you are coming from outside North America, then you're going to be looking at LAX. Other thing to look at when you're planning your trip if you are coming from out of country is to double check your visa situation and make sure that the traveler's visa is either sorted out or not going to be a problem. The last thing that you want is to get stuck at customs in an airport while everybody else is doing BlizzCon. That's not a good day. Step 4 is going to be to figure out your squad. At this point, there are a couple of advantages to doing BlizzCon with friends, so it is time to harass your raid team, your guildies, your arena partners, your pet battle gang, all of your people to see who's also going, and then if any of them are on the fence, to harass them into also going, because you guys are going to have so much more fun if you all go together. Of course, there's nothing that says that you can't do BlizzCon solo, but I think like a lot of Blizzard experiences, this is one of those things where the magic really happens when you do it with your buddies. Step 5 is going to be to lock down your accommodations. So you could wait on this and the airline tickets until after you have your BlizzCon tickets, but things are going to fill up pretty quick, and names on the tickets can be changed until July the 13th at 8 p.m. Pacific time. So the standing wisdom seems to be sort out where you're staying ASAP. Blizzard has a list of hotels that are offering discounted BlizzCon rates on their BlizzCon page, so I will link that in the description. You can check out some of the nearby hotels. There are more nearby hotels that are not at that list, and of course you can still book and stay there, but it's gonna gouge you. They know that people want those rooms and they're gonna make it hurt. Another option to consider includes something like Airbnb, especially if you're staying with a couple of friends. It might make a lot more sense to rent a small place and then split it between a couple of you, assuming that you can rely on your friends to not flake out on you. And if you're splitting a place with friends, that means you guys can share Ubers or other transportation to and from the convention centers. So consider your options, but I would lock it down pretty quick because things are going to fill up. One last tip for picking a place to stay if you're looking at something walking distance from the convention center is to actually Google Maps walking directions, the distance to the convention center, because like 2 blocks is farther than you think with these blocks. These are really big blocks, so have Google Maps tell you exactly how far it is, how long it's going to take to walk, to make sure that you're not trying to go miles and miles with like a gigantic ash bringer over your shoulder. Step 6 is to actually buy your tickets. So on the big day of May 9th and then again on May 12th, make sure that you are ready by doing a couple of things. The big one is that if you have those friends you're going with, get everybody in a call or a group chat. Make sure that everybody is ready to be online trying to buy tickets, and then the first person that gets through can buy up to 4 for your group. So trying to buy tickets in a pool with other people is going to greatly increase your chance of getting some. If you're buying multiple tickets and you don't yet know the exact names and email addresses of the attendees for them yet, just put in your own for all of them and you can change that later. The next thing to check is to log into your Blizzard account on the online web shop to make sure that your password is good and that your payment methods are good, and to maybe even add a backup payment method just in case. The last thing that you want is for ticket sales to open and you can't remember your password because the Blizzard launcher has not asked you for it in years. So make sure that all of that is double checked, and it can't hurt to have a Universe account either. That's the ticketing service. You might not need one, but it's free and it doesn't hurt. Double check that for at least purchasing day, your browser allows cookies, which are used to keep your place in the queue. So make sure that you have those enabled on the browser that you're going to be using for at least those days. Make sure that you're ready at least 10 minutes before the tickets go on sale, and maybe minimize any other strains to your internet at that time. And be prepared to make friends with your F5 refresh key. One last tip is that if you're trying to buy tickets and they sell out, don't peace out and give up like right away. Stick around and keep refreshing the page for a little bit, because anybody that got through the queue but did not complete their transaction, that ticket should be released for sale within the same session, and I've heard of people getting tickets that way. So don't give up right away. Give up eventually, but don't give up right away. Of course, if you try during both of the ticket purchase windows and you're still out of luck, there is always eBay and other ticket resellers. You're gonna pay a markup when you do that, and there's a potential to get scammed, and neither one of those things feels particularly good, but at that point, it's kind of a ransom to having your trip still happen, so you kind of have to weigh the risks and weigh the extra money. And you can also keep an eye out on social media for tickets. Sometimes people will buy them, but then later cannot do the trip for whatever reason, and will sell them for often more reasonable prices, so keep an eye out for that. Finally, step 7 is the anticipation / cosplay crafting if you're into that kind of thing stage. So if you've made it this far, congratulations! You now have half a year to obsess over your packing list, or perfect your cosplay, or continue to harass your friends into getting tickets. You could also pre-order some cold medicine to have waiting for you at home when you get back from your trip, because odds are pretty good that you're gonna get sick, and it's gonna be worth it. So that's all I got. If you have any BlizzCon ticket purchasing or BlizzCon trip planning advice for us newbies, please consider leaving it in the comments for me and people like me to, scroll through and take notes. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!